My Days in England, Part 2. But perhaps it was all for the best. Otherwise, I might have hung around in Jersey for another year or two to the detriment of my personal happiness and my writing ambitions. I arrived in London in the middle of a thick yellow November fog. Those were the days of the killer London fogs, and after a search, found the students' hostel where I was given a cubicle to myself. But I did not stay there very long. The available food was awful. As soon as I got an office job, not too difficult in the 1950s, I rented an attic room in Belsize Park, the first of many bedsitters that I was to live in during my 3 year sojourn in London. From Belsize Park, I was to move to Haverstock Hill, then to South London for a short time, and finally to Swiss Cottage. Most of my landladies were Jewish refugees from persecution in pre war Europe, and I too was a refugee of sorts, still very unsure of where I belonged. Was it England, the land of my father, or India, the land of my birth? But my father had also been born in India, had grown up, and made a living there, visiting his father's land, England, only a couple of times during his life. The link with Britain was tenuous, based on heredity rather than upbringing. It was more in the mind. It was a literary England I had been drawn to, not a physical England. And in fact, I took several exploratory walks around literary London, visiting houses or streets where famous writers had once lived. In particular, the East End and Dockland, for I had grown up on the novels and stories of Charles Dickens, Smollett, Captain Marryat, and W. Jacobs. Thank you for listening. Now, some of the words used in the above passage and their meanings. I rented an attic room in Belsize Park, the first of many bedsitters that I was to live in during my 3 year sojourn in London. Bedsitter means a rented room that has a bed, table, chairs, and somewhere to cook in it. Sojourn, SOJOURN, sojourn means a temporary stay. The link with Britain was tenuous, based on the heredity rather than upbringing. Tenuous, TENUOUS, tenuous means very weak.